Good morning. It's good to be in the house of the Lord. If you would open up to Zechariah chapter 9, we'll begin our study today. There's been 10 visions of Zechariah, and some of them were current to his time, some were later than his time, some were up till now, and some will be after our time. It's been an interesting mix just watching them. So he begins in chapter 9 of Zechariah, the burden of the word of the Lord in the land of Hadrach and Damascus shall be the rest thereof, when the eyes of man as of all the tribes of Israel shall be toward the Lord. And Hamath also shall border thereby, and Tyrus and Zidon, though it be very wise. And Tyrus did build herself a stronghold, and heaped up silver as dust, and fine gold as the mire of the streets. And behold, the Lord will cast her out, and he will smite her power in the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire. Ashkelon shall see it, and fear. Gaza shall also see it, and be very sorrowful. And Ekron, for her expectation, shall be ashamed, and the king shall perish from Gaza and from Ashkelon, and shall not be inhabited. Now, this did happen. It occurred. Babylon came first and then took the land part of it, but Tyre, the island fortress, was spared because they could not get to it and couldn't attack it, so they gave up. They were used to building mountains up to cross over the embattlements, the walls, and then come inside and take over. Well, they couldn't do anything with this long causeway in the island. And every time they tried to come down, it was just a kill zone. So they gave up, but somebody else comes along. Guess who that is? Alexander the Great. And he got mad because they didn't capitulate. So he did exactly what the Lord said was going to happen. He took it down to its foundations. There's nothing left but a little washed island out there. So here you go. And then he says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Remember, they were a seafaring nation, the Philistines, Tyre, Sidon, all of them. And they had many ships, and they were really the pride of that whole area. Solomon's daughter married an Egyptian. Solomon married an Egyptian, had a daughter, so there was a princess that was there, and lived right there in Dor, which was another one of those places where this nation of seafaring peoples were. And so Solomon was able to utilize the seafaring peoples for his own navy because he was married into them. And but then time passes and they get off on their own, and so verse 7, and I will take away his blood out of his mouth and his abominations from between his teeth, but he that remaineth, even he shall be for our God, and he shall be as a governor in Judah, and Ekron as a Jebusite. And I will encamp mine house because of the army, and because of him that passeth by. And again, at first I thought this was Assyria, but it is talking about Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great comes. He does not attack Jerusalem. Instead, he sends animals in to be sacrificed by the priests. And he was just that way. It wasn't, and Jerusalem was not trying to resist him at all, but he just went on by and went down into Egypt to conquer them. He says, pass by because of him that returneth, and no oppressor shall pass through them any more. For now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just, and having salvation, lowly, and riding upon a donkey, and upon a colt, and a foal of a donkey. Now, who is this? Jesus, Palm Sunday. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from the sea even to the sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. the dominion of Jesus Christ has no end. Yeah, and is timeless as well. As for thee also, by the blood of the covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. We know that Jeremiah was tossed into a pit with no water, a miry spot, and was delivered. Maybe this is talking about that. I don't know. When I have bent Judah for me, and filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and have made thee as the sword of a mighty man. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as lightning, and the Lord shall go blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south. And the Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones. Very interesting that could be talking about right now. All the missiles that are coming in, and what operational system do they have for defending Israel? One of them is called David's Sling. It slings missiles out to intercept their missiles as they come in. So he says, subdue with the sling stones, and they shall drink and make noise as through wine, and they shall be filled like bowls, and as the quarters of the altar. And the Lord their God shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for they shall be as the stones of a crown lifted up as an ensign upon his land. And an ensign would be a flag that's raised up over the land. For how great is his goodness, and how great is his beauty! Corn shall make thy young men cheerful, and new wine the maids cheerful. Chapter 10 says, ask ye the Lord rain in the time of the latter rain. So the Lord shall make bright clouds, and shall give them showers of rain, to every one grass in the field. For the idols have spoken vanity, and the diviners have seen a lie, and they have told false dreams. They comfort in vain, and therefore they went their way as a flock, and they were troubled because there was no shepherd. So talking about not having the Savior Jesus. It says, mine anger was kindled against the shepherds. Who is that? The priests, right? And the false shepherds that were out there. I punished the goats, for the Lord of hosts has visited his flock, the house of Judah, and has made them as his goodly horse in battle. And out of him came forth the corner, out of him came the nail, out of him came the battle bow, and out of him came every oppressor together. And they shall be as mighty men, which tread down their enemies in the mire of the streets in the battle. And they shall fight, because the Lord is with them, and the riders on horses shall be confounded. So God is saying he's going to be their defense. He is going to work with them. He says, and I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to place them. For I have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. For I am the Lord their God, and will hear them. And so that is happening now. It's called Aliyah, where people are returning to Israel from all over the world, those with Jewish heritage and those who love Israel. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as through wine. Their children shall see it and be glad, and their heart shall rejoice in the Lord. I will hiss for them, and will gather them. I think of how you go psst, 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 hiss for them. I'm calling them. Come here, come. And for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased. And I will sow among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries. And they shall live with their children and turn again to the Lord. And I will bring them again also out of the land of Egypt, gather them out of Assyria. I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, and the place shall not be found for them. There was a time when the Jewish folks turned around and said, just Lebanon, just take us over, because the only person who's going to give us our temple is the Messiah. When he comes, then he's going to overturn all of these things. And but now they've decided that's not quite the best idea, is to give up all their land, because all they ended up being was murdered. So verse 11, directly talking about Jesus here, he says, and he shall pass through the sea with affliction, and shall smite the waves in the sea, and all the deeps of the river shall dry up, and the pride of Assyria shall be brought down. And we know that the prophecies of the river Tigris, that it's going to dry up. It's dry now. They have no rain in Iran. It's so parched. But there's lots of rain in Israel right now, and more than they need, really, we say. But it says, Assyria shall be brought down, and the scepter of Egypt shall depart away. And I will strengthen them in the Lord, and they shall walk up and down in his name, saith the Lord. Chapter 11. Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. Howl, fir tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled. Howl, O ye oaks of Bashan, for the forest of the vintage is come down. There is a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled, a voice of the roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king. And they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. So the enemies of the Lord are going to fall right and left. It says, And I will feed the flock of the slaughter, even you, O poor of the flock. And I took unto me 2 staves. The one I called Beauty, and the other I called Bands. And I fed the flock. 3 shepherds also I cut off in 1 month. And my soul loathed them, and their soul also abhorred me. Then said I will not feed you that dieth, let it die. That dieth, let it die, and that is to be cut off, let it be cut off, and let the rest eat every one the flesh of another. Ooh, it's kind of a harsh one. And I took my staff, even Beauty, and cut it asunder, that I might break my covenant which I had made with all the people. And it was broken in that day, and so the poor of the flock that waited upon me knew that it was the word of the Lord. So Zechariah has two staves, and he breaks the one called Beauty, and he says, And I said unto them, If ye think good, give me my price, if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said unto me, Cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. Al Sadama, right? The valley of the house of the Lord. Then I cut asunder mine other staff, even Bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And the Lord said unto me, Take unto thee yet the instruments of a foolish shepherd, for lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land which shall not visit those that be cut off, neither shall seek the young one, nor heal that which is broken, nor feed that which standeth still. But he shall eat the flesh of the fat, and tear the claws in pieces. So the claws of the fat ones will be torn up. He says, Woe unto the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. We know that Jesus will be sold for 30 pieces of silver. And then the 30 pieces of silver will be cast into the floor of the temple. And we know that they'll say it's not right for us to use this for the Lord's treasury, so they took the 30 pieces of silver and they bought the potter's field, which was full of nothing but broken pottery. That's where they cast that out. And that is where Judas hung himself until he rotted and fell asunder. Nobody would touch the dead body. And his bowels fell forward. Chapter 12, The burden of the word of the Lord of Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth from the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about. Now, is that not happened now? They thought they would put a ring of fire all the way around Israel, that they could destroy Israel. And instead, Jerusalem has become a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, that all that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it, even though all the nations of the world gather against Israel to destroy it, in that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts, their God. In that day I will make the governors of Judah like a hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath. And they that devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord shall also save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come up against Jerusalem. Warning. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me, whom they have pierced. Again, direct reference to Jesus Christ. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son. Very interesting. And shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And in that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddon. And in the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, and the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Levi, and the wives apart, and the house of Shimei apart, and their wives apart. And all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart, will be mourning. Right? So, in that day, verse chapter 13, he says, there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. It shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land. And so that is exactly what's happened. It's been 400 years of silence. And the idols have been cut out. I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land for 400 years. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord. And his father and his mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesieth. So even during that 400 years, they're going to murder the ones that come up and say that they're prophesying for the Lord, because God says, I'm not sending them. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed, every one of his vision. And when he hath prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. But he shall say, I am no prophet, I am a husbandman. For man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thine hands? And he shall say, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Jesus says, house of my friends, I was nailed to a cross. My own people. It says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. Well, Saul of Tarsus was one of those, right? Came and smote the children of Jesus, the believers, And they spread, but it spread throughout the entire world. So that it shall come to pass in all the land, saith the Lord, that 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. I will bring the third part through fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will cure them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my God. Final chapter. Chapter 14. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, the houses rifled, the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half the mountain shall move towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And there is a great fault line right there that runs through Mount of Olives, and they can point to it even today, say, hey, this is, problematic. And people aren't building on there because they know that the fault line is there. He says, and ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto us all. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled before from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, the king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. That's the second coming of Christ. He shall bodily come. He'll set foot down on the Mount of Olives. The Mount of Olives will split, and we will come with him. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it will be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem. Half of the waters will go towards the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea. In summer and in winter it shall be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth, and in that day there shall be one Lord, and his name one. The Dead Sea will come alive, the land will be healed, and all the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And that's desert now. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate from the tower of Hananiel unto the king's wine presses. So 1,000-year millennial reign, they call it. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord shall smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. This is gross, but their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So Armageddon, all the folks are going to melt before Christ as he speaks the word of God, right? And it shall come to pass on that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and the hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor, and be fighting against each other. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold, silver, and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, and of the mule, and of the camel, and of the donkey, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents, and as this plague, and consume away. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Consequences of not. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that they have no rain. And there shall be plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of the Tabernacles. And this shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord. That will be inscribed upon it. And the pots in the Lord's houses shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts. And all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them and seethe therein. And in that day there shall be no more Canaanite in the house of the Lord God of hosts. So every year they come up to Jerusalem, or there'll be no rain upon them. They'll have a Feast of Tabernacles. They'll have a time that they come together. All the earth, no longer just Jews. And so, and Jesus will be sitting on the throne in the temple of God, and the waters will be flowing forth in two directions out from the temple, one towards the sea and one toward Mediterranean Sea, and one towards the Dead Sea, which will come alive. And so that ends Zechariah as he starts sharing. It's a lot of different prophecies that some have come fulfilled, some will be fulfilled, and some are being fulfilled as we speak. So we just look to the time of the Lord and look for Him to watch over us and give us guidance as to when the time is that we're to go to Jerusalem. Who knows? I'm ready. I'd love to go. But let's pray. Father